Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of the Oraan podcast. I'm Halima, and we're here to talk about uncomfortable conversations around money. And today we have Maryam Malik, who is a lawyer and also a newly to be mom. And we're here to talk about her journey with money and as a working woman. Welcome, Maryam.
Thank you.
So, Mariam, let's start with talking a little bit about your journey with money, right? Like your relationship with money. How is that?
It's complicated.
Isn't it all?
Yeah, it's I think it's taken me some time to become responsible with how I spend my money.
Okay.
Because when I initially started earning, I was like, oh,
सब उड़ा दूंगी.
yeah, but then थोड़ा savings का aspect मेरे में slowly आना शुरू किया था as soon as like maybe 4 or 5 months had passed. And then, but I would say that I wasn't really reaching my saving goals the way that I had thought. And then again, I reevaluated and I kept reevaluating.
Yeah.
Now I'm finally at a stage, especially because of my circumstances, it hit me, that when I found out that I'm pregnant, okay, now is really the time to
Start
saving up, being more responsible with how I spend, what I spend on, So, yeah.
But was that a conversation like between you and your partner before planning your family? Ke finances is something that we will also have to talk about and think about now that we're
It
going
was
into.
definitely part of the conversation. We're both, me and my partner, we're both working people, and both of us are earning. So एक थोड़ा सा आपको comfort zone तो होता ही है कि okay, it's not as if कि हम we don't have money at all. We're still earning on a monthly or my husband is a partner at a law firm, so his earning pattern is a bit different. Mine is slightly different, but we still had this comfort because we are making money, we are independent financially. But naturally, when we decided okay, we're going to start let's start talking about having a family and planning around it, so finances were an aspect to consider, and they have to be considered.
Was it a hard conversation though? Because usually होता है कि ये वाली conversations जो होती हैं थोड़ी सी मुश्किल होती हैं around finances, especially like thinking about from a family perspective, right? Like शादी से पहले भी हम इतनी ज़्यादा बात नहीं करते finances के, but like family planning से भी पहले इतनी ज़्यादा conversations नहीं होती हैं.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was. Personally speaking, it wasn't hard for me. My husband and I, we have a very good understanding. So we just had to come to a point where we were like, okay, this is how we're going to go about things.
Okay.
We're still figuring things out.
It's a process.
It's a process. You can't really decide, okay, आज से this is what we will do and this is what we're not going to do. But naturally, I can see the difference in his spending pattern and his mindset as well. Okay, now we need to be more aware of how we are spending our money. We need to maybe consider investing our money, the savings that we've had, and making sure that we still have savings while we are investing our money. So it was a comfortable conversation.
Okay.
Not a difficult.
Yeah, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's also perhaps because you are also slightly more financially aware कि contribute करना है और finances को साथ लेके चलना है. It's not something that के बिल्कुल at the back of your mind है. But being a lawyer, being a working woman, and planning a family, did this come to your mind that this might I might have to take a break in my career?
Definitely, this has been on my mind, and I've been in my head. I've been back and forth about how I will go about this, and then I eventually decided कि ये अभी at this point मैं ये फैसला नहीं ले सकती. I need to see the baby. I need to make a routine, see how I feel about leaving the child. It's a very personal
Yeah,
decision,
yeah, of course.
and I don't think you can make it beforehand.
Yeah.
I think you really need to be in that situation to make that decision. But my the place that I work, they're very understanding.
Okay.
They've been very cooperative with me, and they have not made it difficult for me at all. I had to go on bed rest for some time in the middle. They didn't say anything, and I was working from home for some time as well. So they were very accommodating. So I'll see.
Yeah, but that's very refreshing to see as well, right? Like workplaces are also evolving
Yeah,
to be and being accommodating, because this is part and parcel of our lives.
exactly. Yeah.
And more so in Pakistan, where it is not still normal for for organizations to be so accommodating around the life journey of a woman.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And but on the flip side, it's also now there's a bigger pool of women in the workforce. पहले इतना नहीं होता था. Now there are more and more women in the workforce, and I do think organizations, institutions, and companies and firms, they're becoming more and more aware of how they need to be more accommodating to
Yeah,
their.
adapt to how the mindsets are changing, how
Yeah.
the structures are also changing.
And also to understand that it's not about treating everyone at the same. You can't really treat everyone the same, right?
Yeah.
Because women have different needs and men
Yeah.
have different needs. So I feel like specifically where I work, they have been very accommodating to me and understanding that, okay, yeah, she needs to work from home for some time. She can't come to the office for some
Yeah.
time. So yeah.
That's very refreshing to hear, Mariam, and thank you so much for sharing that. As a lawyer, is it more expensive to be a woman lawyer? Like expensive on your own account? Like, is it more expensive to go to court? Is it more difficult to go to court as a woman? Like, what has that journey been like?
So, for me, like professionally, as I don't think I can't say which is more expensive. Petrol ka kharcha to
Yeah,
utna hi aana
yeah.
hai. But I think if your question is whether it's more difficult for women to go to court, to approach or access court, um, the legal costs, they're going to be the same for men and women, right? But it's more about their ability to pay and what resources they
Yeah.
have, whether they can fund themselves or whether they need to rely on some support. If for example, just a small example, if there's a housewife and she's considering getting khula from
Yeah.
her husband, what support does she have? If she does not have a source of earning, then it will be more difficult, and it will naturally, the expense will
Yeah.
keep adding up. But now, alhamdulillah, there are so many institutions and lawyers and people who are willing to provide services for free, willing to take on, take off the financial burden. So,
Do you think that's more to do with people also realizing that there is an imbalance in the system and there is some form and shape of moral or social responsibility
yes,
to
yes.
make sure that women get some form and shape of equal to nahi keh sakte, but like some form and shape of access to things that they want to be able to do.
Yeah, but definitely. People are now more aware of there being a need to assist women and to provide these resources to women. And there are so many, I wouldn't just say it's limited to just female lawyers who are out there providing their services for
Yeah.
free, but there are male lawyers
Yeah.
as well, who provide their services for free. I was working at this place before I joined the current place that I'm working at. I was working with the senior lawyer, Faisal Siddiqui, and he has been very helpful to women. He has taken up many different causes for women. So, there's times are changing. People
Yeah.
are more aware, and people want to give this access,
Yeah.
to make things better, make things easier.
I think that's a there's a good way to put it, to make things easier, right? And I think when you talk about making things easy, it also goes back to being able to create that awareness for women as well, कि आपके पास optionality available है.
So on awareness, I think there is still a
A
lot
lot of work to be
more
done,
work
yeah.
to be done, because a lot of women still are not as aware of A, their rights, and B, how they can get, how they
Exercise
can,
those
yeah,
rights,
they
yeah.
how they can exercise those rights, what means of access do they have. But I have noticed that with social media, with the growing amount of resources, things are becoming easier. There are groups on Facebook. आप अपने problems post कर सकते हैं. You can ask your friends. So again, it's a
It's a work in
process. It's a work in
progress,
progress. Yeah,
and I think it will take some time to get to that, the ideal state, if ever we
definitely,
get there. But I think we're moving in the right direction.
definitely.
When we talk about awareness, part of it is also कि हम इस तरह की conversations को normal नहीं करते, right? हम बात करना शुरू कर रहे हैं, but it's still very very difficult to talk about rights of women, whether it is financial rights, whether it is basic human rights, right?
Because these are conversations that have not been had
Yeah,
in the
ever.
past.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, who can you talk to, right? Can you talk to, let's say, your mother who has never been financially empowered? Or can you talk to your aunts who've struggled most of their lives with money?
Yeah.
Who can you talk to? You can't talk to, it's not a conversation that you can just, आप किस अपने अब्बू के पास जाके कि मेरे ये मसले हैं, या stuff like that. So it's a conversation that's not been had. Now people are talking about it, and it's the younger generation.
Yeah.
There's still a generation gap in
Yeah.
this ideology as
Yeah.
well. There is a larger part of society that still does not, it's not about not realizing financial empowerment, but it's also about the fact that they don't want to.
Yeah.
They don't want to get into this conversation because they never had that privilege.
What is being done to change that, if anything?
So over here in Karachi, I've noticed, मुझे 6 साल हो गए हैं practice किए हुए. So I've noticed that there are more and more women coming into the field.
Yeah.
Young lawyers, you start seeing them. हर साल, you see new fresh faces, and a lot of them are women. So I can definitely say that just by looking at the number of the increasing number of women who've joined the profession, things are moving towards better.
Right.
And also, when you start off in the legal profession, it's not very easy to make money. It's very tough. Depends on where you're working, who you're associated with. There are a lot of factors that come into play. But definitely औरतें अब बहुत ज़्यादा इस फील्ड में आ रही हैं. And just by looking at the number of increasing women, you can tell that things are, increasingly getting better. They are getting paid better. They are maybe getting more opportunities, more recognition.
That's really good to hear, and I think it continues to go towards that structural change that we require to provide for an equal opportunity, for women as well, so that they, if their family, if their mothers or their mother-in-laws or sisters were not financially independent, they can change and make that path happen for their
Yeah.
families as well, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maryam, for having this conversation with us. I really enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it as well.
And I'm sure you did as well. If you have any questions around the topic that we touched upon today, please leave it in the comments and we will get back to you. Thank you so much. Thank you.